My name's Ava Bennett, and I lost my life at just 17 years old out at Miller's Pond in July of 2024. That day started out like any other: hot sun, thick air, and no clue it would be my last on Earth. Before that day, my life was small, simple. Just me, my folks, and my little sister Chloe in a scuffed-up blue house tucked behind a row of pine trees in rural North Carolina. Dad hauled lumber 6 days a week, always coming home smelling like sweat and sawdust. Mom worked at my school, strict with rules, soft with hugs, and never let you leave the house without a snack, just in case. Most days were nothing special. I'd do my homework, trade dumb jokes with Lucas and Jake, help Chloe with her spelling words. My biggest worry was whether I'd get the new Starfall game for my birthday, or if I'd survive the next algebra quiz. But none of that mattered on the day everything changed. I didn't know it that morning, as I watched steam rise off Mom's coffee mug or heard Dad wrestling with our crooked screen door, that my time was almost up. And what came next? Nothing could have prepared me. It was the kind of day where the air hangs heavy and still, and everything smells like hot pavement and fresh-cut grass. The three of us, me, Lucas, and Jake, were down by the pond skipping rocks and goofing off like we always did. That's when Lucas pointed to the old floating dock we always talked about but never touched. "I dare you," he grinned, eyes glinting with challenge. I laughed. "You're on." I wasn't much of a swimmer, and they knew it. But when you're 16 and your pride's on the line, logic takes a back seat. I kicked off my shoes and dove in, slicing through the warm top layer into the cooler depths below. The first few strokes felt good, easy even. But by the time I reached the halfway point, something shifted. My muscles gave out like someone had flipped a switch. My arms felt like soaked towels, and my legs like anchors pulling me under. I tried to breathe, just one good breath, but swallowed water instead. It hit me like fire, filling my lungs with panic. I thrashed, kicked, but I wasn't moving anymore. The dock felt miles away. I couldn't scream, couldn't call for help. Everything tightened, like the world was shrinking around me. I saw Lucas's face twist from playful to terrified. He was shouting something, but it came through warped, like a voice in a nightmare, muffled, distant. The pond, once calm and familiar, now felt massive, monstrous. I was sinking fast. And then silence. The pain vanished. The burn, the fear, even the cold, all of it gone. In its place was a stillness so deep, it felt like floating inside a dream. Something lifted me, not like water does, but lighter. Effortless. I rose through the murky depths until the surface broke around me, glittering in the sunlight. But I wasn't swimming anymore. I was hovering, just above the water, completely weightless. I looked down and saw my own body beneath the surface, pale and motionless, like some stranger had borrowed my face. It was jarring, and yet not terrifying. It felt like watching someone else's tragedy play out. I saw Lucas and Jake scrambling on the shore, yelling, panicking. Mr. Harlan, our grumpy neighbor, was sprinting down the hill, shouting into his phone, waving his arms. And the pond? It shimmered like glass. So calm. So still. You'd never know that someone had just died in it. I felt a tug, a strange ache, watching it all. I wanted to yell, "I'm okay. I'm still here." But I had no voice, no lungs, no body. I was just me, but more me than I'd ever been. Then everything around me began to shift. The pond, the shore, the people, it all started to fade, like someone slowly turning down the brightness and muffling the sound at the same time. Colors lost their edge, sounds softened into a distant hum, and then a new kind of light began to rise around me. This wasn't sunlight. There was no burn, no glare. It was soft and warm, like a living glow that didn't come from any one direction. It came from everywhere and nowhere, all at once. The light felt alive, like it was humming a song, not one you hear with your ears, but one you feel deep in your bones. It wrapped around me like the coziest blanket you can imagine, only made out of peace instead of fabric. A peace so full, it didn't just calm me. It held me. I'd never known anything like it in all my life. All the small stuff that used to feel so big, quizzes, dares, whether I looked stupid in front of a boy, All of it just slipped away like fog under the morning sun. None of it mattered anymore. I was safe, whole, untouchable. And then I turned around. That's when I saw him. Jesus. Not the Sunday school version with flowing robes and sandals. Not the stained glass window version either. No, he was light. Pure, radiant, warm light, but shaped like a man. His outline shimmered, glowing like sunrise, like every golden hour all rolled into one. And yet I could see him, truly see him. His presence didn't blind me. It filled me. With peace, with joy. With something deeper than anything I'd ever called happiness before. His eyes, oh God, his eyes. I couldn't even tell you what color they were. It didn't matter. Because when he looked at me, it was like he was looking into the very center of my soul. Not just who I was in that moment, but every version of me I'd ever been. He saw the time I split my sandwich with a kid who forgot his lunch. He saw the time I blamed Chloe for breaking that plate, even though it was me. He saw every choice, every secret, every shame. And here's the wildest part. There wasn't even a flicker of judgment in his eyes. Just love. Not the kind you earn. Not the kind that fades. This was love so massive it made the whole universe feel small. It wrapped around me like a hug that didn't need arms. The kind of love that tells you you're safe now. You're home. I couldn't speak, I didn't need to. My heart felt like it had stopped and exploded all at once. I just stood there in awe, like my soul had finally remembered what it was made for. Then he spoke, but not with sound. His voice arrived like a thought gently placed in both my heart and my mind, warm and sure, steady as a river. "Welcome, Ava," he said. "It's good to see you." As soon as those words touched me, tears filled my eyes, but not from sadness. These were the kind of tears that come when you find something you didn't know you were missing. I'd never felt so fully known, and so completely loved. "Am I dead?" I asked. The words didn't come from my mouth, they just formed and floated. Jesus smiled, and the light around us seemed to grow even brighter, like it was celebrating. "Your body has stopped," he said gently. "But you, Ava, you are more alive now than you've ever been." He reached out his hand, made of light like the rest of him, and when I touched it, warmth surged through me. But not heat. Not the kind that burns. It was like stepping inside a memory of home. Comfort and peace woven together into one pure feeling. He took my hand, and we moved, not walking exactly, more like gliding, as if space itself was making way for us. The glowing light around us began to change, turning from soft white into something richer, deeper, more alive. Then memories began to rise up around us, not like photos, but living moments. The first was of my mom. She was kneeling at my bedside, hands clasped tightly, whispering a prayer in the dim glow of a night light. I watched her words float from her mouth like threads of gold, glowing as they drifted upward. Those threads wrapped around me, soft and invisible, forming a kind of blanket that somehow I remembered. Then came another moment. I was maybe 9, sick with a fever, tossing and turning under the covers. I remembered how miserable I'd felt. But now I saw it from another angle. I saw Mom praying again. Only this time, her prayer formed a glowing shield, like a dome of golden light around me. And I saw something else, something dark, jagged, creeping toward me. I hadn't noticed it back then. I just thought the fever broke because of medicine or sleep. But no, it was her prayer that kept the darkness away. Jesus looked at me, and his voice came like wind across water. "No prayer ever goes to waste, Ava," he said. "Not one. They're treasures and weapons. Fueled by love. Stronger than anything this world can create." Then the light shifted again. I could feel it. This next part mattered more than anything. Jesus wanted me to really see it. Suddenly, we were standing on a quiet hilltop, looking out over a vast body of water. It sparkled under a sky streaked with soft oranges and purples. The air was still. Boats drifted peacefully below. The whole place breathed calm. "It's beautiful," I thought. "This is the Sea of Galilee," Jesus replied. "I spent a lot of time here during my days on Earth. But watch closely." As I stood gazing out over the water, something shifted. At first, I thought my eyes were messing with me, maybe a trick of the light. But then I saw it. Near the shore, the water began to swirl, not blue or green, but red. Just a hint at first, like someone had poured dark paint into the sea. But it didn't stop. The red kept spreading, slow and steady, rolling outward until the whole sea was stained, dark, thick, and heavy. The boat still floated there, quiet and still, now drifting on a sea that looked like blood. "What's happening?" I asked. My voice didn't come from my mouth. It was more like a thought carried by emotion. "Is that blood?" Jesus turned toward the water, and for the first time, the glow around him dimmed slightly, like his heart was feeling something far too deep to explain. "In a way, yes," he said softly. "This is something that will happen soon. In 2025, the sea will turn red, just like this, for a brief moment. And people will panic. Some will say it's a curse. Others will call it my wrath." Then he looked at me, and it was like his eyes held the sorrow of the entire world. "But it's not anger, Ava," he said. "It's not punishment. It's a sign. A mirror." "A mirror?" I asked. "Of what?" He turned back to the Red Sea, his voice calm but firm. "It's a reflection of pain. Humanity's pain. Every bitter word, every grudge, every moment when hate is chosen over love, it all leaves a mark. A drop in the sea." He raised his hand, and suddenly I saw it. A man in an office, screaming into his phone. I realized he was yelling at his wife. As the anger poured out of him, a single drop of thick red liquid leaked from his chest, falling straight into the sea below. Then another scene, two world leaders on TV screens, locked in a shouting match. As their insults flew, more red dripped from them into the water. It spread fast. Kids at school teasing a classmate on the playground. Another splash of red. And more. So much more. It was everywhere: anger, cruelty, pride. Each act, each wound, another drop of red. I felt something twist inside me. A kind of grief I didn't have words for. "It's so much," I whispered. "It's everywhere." Jesus nodded, eyes full of quiet knowing. "Yes," he said. "But that's not the whole story." He lifted his hand again, and the vision changed. The Red Sea faded, and a new scene emerged. I saw a woman sitting beside a hospital bed. Her father lay there, frail and fading. I could see the pain in her face. This man had hurt her deeply when she was a child. But now she reached out, took his hand, and whispered, "I forgive you, Dad." As those words left her lips, a single drop of crystal clear water fell from her spirit and hit the sea. Right where it touched, the red shimmered, then melted away, replaced by vibrant, sparkling blue. Then I saw more. A boy tearing his sandwich in half and giving it to a kid who used to bully him. Blue again. Two friends making up after a long fight. Another drop of clear water, another patch of blue. Then I saw something familiar. Me, just a few years younger, forgiving Lucas after he broke my favorite toy. I'd cried, but I let it go. That small moment I had almost forgotten created its own drop of blue, spreading outward into the red. "Do you see it now, Ava?" Jesus asked. His voice didn't sound heavy anymore. It carried something else, hope. "The red looks overwhelming. But the blue? The blue is stronger. Forgiveness, compassion, love, they don't just balance the pain. They erase it. One honest act of grace can wash away an ocean of hurt." He paused, letting the stillness settle. "But the world has forgotten. They chase power, control, revenge. They think strength comes from holding on. But real power, the kind that heals, is found in letting go." Then Jesus looked straight into me and said, "When the sea turns red, fear will rise. But I don't want fear, I want reflection. I want people to ask themselves, am I pouring hurt into the world or healing?" That's the message, Ava. You need to carry it back. "Carry it back?" I asked, already feeling something shift. The light around us held firm, but something soft was tugging me, like invisible fingers pulling me away. "No," I whispered, clinging to his glowing hand. "Please, don't send me back. I want to stay. It's perfect here. There's no pain." Tears spilled down my face, not from fear, but heartbreak. Leaving him felt like being torn in half. He didn't pull away. Instead, He placed his other hand on my shoulder, and warmth filled me, steady, deep, unshakable. "I know it hurts," he said. "But one day, you'll return forever. Just not today. Your family still needs you. And others need this truth." I sobbed harder. "But I'm just a kid who's going to believe me?" Jesus smiled gently. "You don't have to convince anyone. Just tell them what you saw. Tell them I'm real. That my love is endless. And that forgiveness is stronger than pain. Don't be afraid. I'll always be with you." Then he touched his forehead to mine, and a burst of light shot through me. It wasn't just comfort. It was a promise. "I don't want to go," I whispered. "I know," he said. "But it's time. Go in peace, my brave little messenger." The light faded. The warmth vanished. And I fell fast, heavy, through silence and shadow. Then pain. A violent jolt. Hands pressing on my chest. Screams. I gasped, choking, as pond water exploded from my mouth. My lungs burned like fire. The sunlight stabbed into my eyes. And the world came crashing back. "She's breathing. She's breathing. We got her back," someone shouted. My eyes fluttered open. I was lying on the grass next to Miller's Pond. The sunlight blinked through the trees above, warm and blinding. My chest rose and fell in sharp, shaky breaths. A man in a red shirt, his hands steady, face tight with focus, was hovering over me, checking something strapped to my chest. My body felt heavy, like I'd been dropped from 1,000 feet. Then I saw her. My mom. She was kneeling right beside me, her face streaked with tears, hair sticking to her cheeks, eyes wide with panic and love. "Ava, oh baby, Ava," she kept repeating over and over, like if she stopped saying my name, I might slip away again. Everything hurt. My ribs felt like they'd been caved in. I was freezing, soaked, shaking, barely able to move. My lips were numb. I tried to speak, but all I managed was a soft cough. Just a little one. But her face lit up like I'd come back from the dead. Which, I guess, I had. Off to the side, I could see spinning lights, red and blue flashing across the grass, across Lucas's pale, tear-streaked face. Jake was crying too, hugging himself like he didn't know what else to do. Mr. Harlan stood behind them, his phone still in his hand, staring at me like he couldn't believe what he was seeing. They told me later that I'd been under for almost 9 minutes. 9 minutes without air. The paramedics shook their heads as they packed up their equipment, murmuring things like, "No way she's not brain damaged, and this shouldn't have happened." But somehow it had. I woke up. I spoke. I remembered everything. They called it a miracle. But I already knew that. As I lay there, blinking at the sky, my mom gripping my hand so hard it hurt, my thoughts weren't on the ambulance or the crowd or the cold. My thoughts were on him. On his light. His voice. His eyes. That love. That impossible, overwhelming love. Tears filled my eyes, not because I was scared or in pain, but because I had just left the most beautiful place I'd ever known. I had just stood face to face with Jesus. And I already missed him with every cell of my being. So I'm telling you this now, not as a preacher or a prophet or someone looking for attention. I'm just a 16-year-old girl from North Carolina. I'm telling you what I saw because Jesus asked me to. He's real. Not just in paintings or songs or quiet prayers whispered into pillows. He's more real than anything I've ever known. His love is deeper than any ocean, higher than any sky. He sees you, even the parts of yourself you try to hide. The pain you don't talk about. The guilt. The fear. He knows it all. And if you're wondering what you can possibly do in a world that feels like it's drowning in anger and noise, he gave me the answer. Forgive. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Let go of what's eating at you. Say, "I'm sorry." Say, "I forgive you." Choose love over pride. Kindness over revenge. Grace over grudges. Because every single time you do, even just once, you're pouring a drop of healing into a broken sea. You're turning the tide. You're making this world just a little more blue and a little more whole.